If you're curious how to resolve a heavy, crampy, clotty period, today I'm going to share with you 4 core reasons why you're experiencing heavy periods, and I'm going to give you 3 extremely powerful and impactful tips to resolve them for your next cycle. Stay tuned, ladies. This video will literally change your menstrual cycle experience. Happy Valentine's Day, friends! For all of my regular viewers, I just want to send you tons of Valentine's Day love. I am so grateful for all of you. For all of you new joining, welcome. My name is Dr. Melissa Gallagher. I am a naturopathic physician. I'm based in Atlanta, Georgia. I work with individuals like yourselves every day. And today I'm answering a very, very common question. I've actually gotten a lot of these more recently. And usually when I see trends, that's usually impetus for me to create a video. So today we are going to talk about heavy, clotty, painful, crampy periods. Sometimes they might be periods that last a really long time, or they might be shorter, but extremely intense in the flow category. Also, I'm going to give you some tips to resolve these challenges. So I'll identify the root cause, 4 reasons why you are having heavy periods. And then most importantly, I'm going to give you 3 tips, 3 takeaways that you can take with you to resolve these. These 3 tips will actually be in a free download, which will be really great. So all I need from you is your email, and we'll email you the download. So I'm super excited to kick off today's video because I personally have experienced these challenges in the way of heavy periods, crampy periods, clotty periods, longer periods, and really it kicked off when I was in my teens. So for any of you teen viewers, these tips are going to be helpful. It doesn't really matter your age. As long as you're menstruating, these tips really will be impactful at any of your ages. So the number 1 reason for heavy periods is an imbalance in progesterone, particularly you are deficient or have low levels of progesterone. If you are a regular viewer of mine, I talk a lot about the ratio between estrogen and progesterone. It's a 3-to-1 ratio, and a lot of times that ratio gets skewed where estrogen is so much higher or so much more dominant, even when we have a situation where women will have low levels of both of those hormones. But particularly progesterone deficiency is the core leading reason behind your heavy, clotty, crampy, and extreme flow of your menstrual cycle. Number 2, the second reason why women have heavy periods is thyroid imbalances, particularly iodine deficiencies. So your thyroid gland controls a lot of the menstrual cycle process. It also plays a key role in the buildup of your uterine lining, and heavy, clotty, crampy, really unpleasant periods that a lot of you have written to me about and I've experienced, they lead back to thyroid imbalances. So if you are not familiar with symptoms of thyroid imbalance, I'm going to encourage you to check out these videos. There's a playlist up there. I also have digital downloads and guides for an assortment of thyroid imbalances. You can grab those in the description box below. If you find your OBGYN or your general practitioner is not going to test you on your thyroid and you're like, hey, I really want to get my thyroid checked, I would encourage you to check out a test kit that we mail to our patients. This will analyze it through a very simple blood spot test. It's literally like a diabetic pinprick, and you put little drops of blood on a test strip. We send that into the lab and we can identify your full thyroid levels as well as identify your thyroid function. So some women have imbalances in T3 and T4, and the uptake of those hormones, those are often associated with our liver hormone production, which, by the way, the majority of thyroid hormones are not produced in your thyroid. They're actually produced in other endocrine glands in the body. But a big receptor site for iodine and thyroid hormones are both our breast tissue and our uterine tissue. So if there are uterine lining challenges like heavy menstrual cycles or cramping and clotting, we have to assess the thyroid. So number 3 takes the thyroid hormone a little bit further, and it looks at the state of the liver. So the liver is not just a core essential body organ, it's also a gland. It actually produces a multitude of hormones. Some of the key hormones are T3 and T4. Vitamin D, it actually synthesizes, but its toxicity and its state of imbalance and functionality has a direct correlation to the state of your uterine lining tissue health, as well as the state of your menstrual cycle. So with heavy, clotty, crampy periods, the liver is a huge, huge root of that imbalance and can be a main source of the status or situation of your menstrual cycle. So we have to love your liver. And fourth and final is estrogen dominance or estrogen imbalances. Now this plays very closely to our number one, which is progesterone imbalance. If you have progesterone imbalance, you will have estrogen dominance. And it doesn't really matter if your levels are low on both of those categories. It's that ratio that's most important. But most importantly, many of us don't realize that we actually have 3 different types of estrogen, and those estrogens all balance each other. So even within the estrogen hormone, there are 3 hormones that we want to analyze and we want to balance. So now you know the 4 causes. Let's talk about how to resolve your heavy, clotty, crampy periods. Number 1 is to add in progesterone cream. I find statistically in my own clinical practice, but also through some clinical studies and data, progesterone cream, when applied topically in the right areas, can be extremely beneficial to supporting the balance of a heavy period. And this can be so efficient that as you're taking it for your next cycle, you'll actually notice a big difference. I have a ton of patients who write to me and their minds are blown because it's so powerful. And it's not just about your period, it's about your whole entire body. We need progesterone for a lot of other things. It's a nerve tonic, it balances the brain, it helps to release and relax the muscles and lowers anxiety, and actually helps with sleep. So progesterone is really one of our best friends and best powerful tools to balance your heavy periods. If you're curious about the application sites, do download the guide. I'll get very specific and detailed in that guide, and I really do hope you will consider downloading that. It's totally free and it will be extremely powerful. So tip number 2, to balance the thyroid and particularly support the thyroid gland in its production of iodine is to actually add in iodine supplementation. For really intense cases, again, we have to test. We want to analyze your data before we start really going full-fledged with iodine. But it's not a bad idea for ladies to consider 25 milligrams of some healthy, good quality iodine. This is a product that we sell in my clinic called Ioderol. I'll include a link to my store where you can grab that. Also, I encourage my patients to eat kelp flakes and rich seaweed vegetables. So sea vegetables like dulse, kelp, and even Irish moss. We're seeing those in supplementation as well. Those are very rich in natural iodine. And if you follow me on Instagram, I posted the other morning that I was eating scrambled eggs and I put in less than 1/4 teaspoon of kelp flakes. It functions like a salt alternative in our diet. The 1/4 teaspoon is the equivalent of 970% of your iodine. It's an intense power punch of healthy iodine. Food first is always my recommendation, and your body assimilates and absorbs food nutrients a lot easier than supplementation. So instead of a liquid iodine, I always recommend going that route first, and then we measure and would add in an ioderol. This can go up to 50 milligrams of 2 different types of iodine, which are very, very nourishing to not just your uterus, your ovaries, and your breast tissue, but will also help alleviate constipation, which is very common for when women have imbalances in their hormone structure. They also will have degrees of constipation. And then when their periods begin, holy cow, they're like their body's evacuating, and there's a liver connection there. And speaking of the liver, this is our last and final tip to balance the liver, and it's to grab dandelion tea. I talk about this all the time. I will talk about it until I'm blue in the face because dandelion tea, this particular tea, traditional medicinals, is a healthy tea because they don't have plastic in their tea bags. That's why I recommend them for everything. They are now also producing turmeric tea. They have Tulsi tea and just so many. But for your liver, Dandelion greens, dandelion roots, any part of the dandelion plant is very powerful. This happens to be a potent punch of 1,500 milligrams of dandelion. Dandelion has a particular ingredient in it that will literally force the liver to get bile production moving. Bile is a byproduct that the liver makes, and it's basically like the byproduct of all the junk and gunk in your bloodstream. So it removes fat, it removes cholesterol, it removes toxic chemicals. We need to get more bile moving to clear and cleanse your liver. So a bogged down liver is not producing enough bile. That's where a lot of times we'll see that constipation link. So several cups of dandelion tea on a daily basis will have a significant impact on your life. A second thing that I recommend adding is milk thistle. Milk thistle is a really good detoxifier. This also cleanses the liver. It helps rejuvenate its energy and strength, and will balance hot flashes as well. A lot of times the liver is the root of hot flashes for a lot of my women. And if you find yourself having night sweats, this combination is very powerful. And again, if you want real specifics in terms of the dosing, I'll include the guide that I've created for you. So I'll include my guide, Taming Your Period, down below. It's a free download. And ladies, love your liver. It's Valentine's Day, and I hope you guys have a wonderful time with all your friends and family and loved ones. But most importantly, don't forget to implement self-love, not just today or this weekend, but all the time. And balancing your hormones, eating well, and getting the right nutrients into your diet are some of the best ways for you to implement self-love. And also, if you're curious about supplementation and nutrition, getting details about what supplements are the healthiest, what to avoid in terms of maybe toxic ingredients or allergen sources, I'm going to invite you to check out this docu-series. It is called Supplements Revealed. It is run by my friends Jeff Hayes and Dr. Patrick Gentempo. They are going to break down all the things we need to know about supplementation and nutritional supplements that are out there on the market, how to know what to buy, what to look for, and then also, most importantly, nutrients and supplements that we should be getting on a daily basis. They interview a ton of thought leaders in functional medicine, as well as scientists and even creators and formulators in this huge industry. So I think you'll find that helpful. There's still plenty of time to enroll, but I would definitely get in this weekend. It launches on the 18th. Ooh, I'm so excited. So we'll be watching it together. So if this video was helpful, please comment down below. So I'm going to encourage you, if you have any other questions about your periods or menstrual cycle or hormones, comment down below. I always love having you guys lead my topics of conversation here on our channel. And I hope all of you, again, have a wonderful Valentine's Day. Sending you lots of love.